Good morning, students. Today we are continuing our chapter number 8 of part A, transport and communication. In the last lecture, we discussed about the transport and communication. What is the importance of transport and communication and different modes of transport? In which we discussed there are three major modes of transport: land, water, air, and the recent new is pipeline, right? Land transport we already discussed. What are the benefits of land transport and what is the world distribution of roads or highways, right? So in this lecture we will discuss the next mode of transport, that is railway. First of all, Bachar, railway is the cheapest and more convenient mode of transport than the roadways and any other mode of transport for a long distances and to transport the bulky and heavy goods, right? So if we have to transport the bulky goods or to carry the passengers in large amount, the railways are the cheapest mode of transport, right? Railways, first public railway was opened between Scotland to Darlington in northern England in 1825. I already told you this in the last lecture. Two interrelated factors led to the growth of railways in the world. First, the invention of steam engine, right? Due to this invention of steam engine, the railway was invented. Second, when the industrial growth was there in the especially in the European countries, so the rise in the rapid rise in the industries made it necessary to improve our existing transportation system. So there is a requirement of fastest and cheapest mean of transport, and the railway was invented, right? Now the railway track, you might have seen the railway track, some are broad and some are narrows. If you went to Ambala to anywhere else, you will find that the railway track is broader, right? If you going to Kalka to Shimla, then you will see the railway track is narrow, right? So the width, this is called the gauge, right? So the width of the railway track is known as gauges. So railway gauges vary in different countries. Mainly three types of railway gauges are there. First is broad gauge, when the railway track width is more than 1.5 meter, right? In this picture you can see the broad, this width is known as the gauge, right? If it is more than 1.5 meter, the gauge will be considered as a broad gauge, right? Second is a standard gauge, which is which width is 1.44 meter, right? And the third is meter gauge, as its name suggesting, if the gauge width is 1 meter, then it will be considered as meter gauge. And some hilly areas and some regions have smaller than 1 meter gauges, they are called as smaller gauges. Broadly, we classified the gauges at the world level into three. First is broad, second is standard, and third is meter. Broad is 1.5 meter, more than 1.5 meter. Standard gauge width is 1.44 meter. Meter gauge is considered of the width of 1 meter, and some smaller gauges are also present less than 1 meter, right? So it is less than 1 meter. Moreover, except these gauges train, there are some commuter trains are also there. Commuter trains are available for the short distances, which carry large number of passengers in big urban centers from the surrounding areas in the morning and the evening. evening, the peak points of the working hours, and when the people are going to their workplaces and coming back from their workplaces, right? So in the morning and in the big evening, they carry a huge amount of passengers from one place to another place, and they are known as commuter trains, which are very popular in UK, USA, Japan, and India. In India, Kolkata, we can say Kolkata, Delhi, Madras, and Chennai. Sorry, Chennai and uh, which one? Mumbai. Yes, all these metropolitan cities have commuter trains. You can say local trains, right? Which carry passengers in the morning and in the evening, especially. Clear? So these carry million of passengers daily to and fro in the city. They bring the passengers in the city, and they came from the city in the evening. So if we talked about the railway pattern, world railway pattern, before discussing the world railway pattern, you must know the benefits of the railways. In the world, 13 lakh kilometer of railways opened throughout the world, right? So total railway length is 13 lakh kilometers throughout the world, and it varies from one country to another country. As I told you in the last lecture, because laying the railway track to maintain the stations and all that communication system, the huge finance is required. So the advanced country have the greater density of railway rather than the developing countries. So because they have to construct, they have to maintain the railway stations, and they required a huge amount of finance, right? Secondly, railways are managed by the government, because that is a very essential essential service of the country. So the government takes it in his hand, right? Third, the special services, no, sorry, steam engines. Now these days the steam engines are replaced. The now the diesel engines and the electric engines took place of steam engines. Some special services are also providing in the railways to facilitate the passengers, like air conditioner air conditioning, night berths, reclining seats. Restaurant services are also provided to comfort the journey of the people. Some freight services are also being provided by the railways to introduce by introducing wagons with cooling facilities for perishable goods, with tankers, containers. All these facilities in evolve the industries, right? So they can send their goods, they can transport their goods from the origin point to the markets, right? So railways all over the world are experiencing several financial difficulties. In spite of all these, we will focus on the world railway patterns. Right? If we talk about the Europe has one of the densest landworks in the world. As I told you that the railway was introduced in the England, in the European country of England. So the railway has the densest network in the European countries, because the industrial revolution took place firstly in the Europe, and railway is also invented in the Europe. So it has densest network in the world. Second, Belgium has the highest density of 1 kilometer of railway for every 6.5 square kilometer area. So important railheads of Europe are the Paris, Brussels, Milan, Berlin, and Warsaw. Underground railways are also important in London and Paris, right? You have learned it about it in your 10th standard, that the underground railway was also introduced in London to reduce the congestion of the city of Paris and London. So underground railway are also important in Europe, basically in London and Paris. Now come to the next, Channel Tunnel. Channel Tunnel, you can see in this picture, there is a Channel Tunnel. Here is a tunnel, right? So Channel Tunnel, operated by Eurotunnel Group through England, connects London with Paris, right? So these tunnels connected London with Paris. This is called underground railway. Now, what about Russia? 90% of the country's total railway transport with very dense network in the west of the Urals, which is very resource rich area. So high density of the railway is found in the western part of the Russia. In the North America, it is one of the most extensive railway networks. Nearly 40% of the total world's total rail length is found in North America. In the North America, Canada has about 48,000 kilometers of railway network and carry the bulk of wheat and coal tonnage. In the fifth chapter, you learned that the Canada has a prairies region where the wheat cultivation is done at a large amount. So bulk of wheat, to carry the bulk of wheat and the coal tonnage, the railway was introduced in Canada, and the total rail length is 48,000. What about Australia? Australia has 40,000 kilometers of railways, of which 25% are found in New South Wales alone. In South America, the rail network is the densest in the two regions, namely the Pampas of Argentina, that is also a wheat growing rich area, and the coffee, Brazil, right? So the coffee growing region of Brazil, both together are 40% of South America's total route land, right? South America is rich in wheat cultivation, as known as Pampas area, and the Brazil is known for its coffee plantation. To facilitate these two regions, 40% of the total route length of South America is found in these two regions. There is only one rail route linking Buenos Aires, Argentina with Valparaiso, Chile, across the Andes Mountains through the Uspallata Pass, located at a height of 3,900 meters. Because there is a mountains, and through these mountains there is a passes, and through these passes a railway track is lying, which links Buenos to Valparaiso, right? In Asia, rail network is the densest in the populated areas of Japan, China, and India, right? Because the population density is high in these areas, and so that the demand of the railway network is high. So density of the railway network is found in the high populated areas of Asia, Japan, China, and India. Now, what about the Africa? Africa continent, second largest, has only 40,000 kilometers of railways. It is the second largest continent still, yet has only 40,000 kilometers of railway, with South Africa alone 18,000 kilometers due to the concentration of gold, diamond, and copper mining activities. To facilitate these mining areas, the South Africa has a greater density rather than the other parts of Africa, right? So there is 18,000 kilometer railway land found in South Africa due to the presence of gold, diamond, and copper mining. So that was a world distribution of railway. Now the term associated with the railway, most important term is transcontinental railway, right? The most important, transcontinental railway. Transcontinental railway means, suppose this is a one continent, right? So it is a one continent. If a train started from the western coast and it reaches throughout the crossing the different stations, it reaches to the end of the eastern coast, right? So this railway line is connecting the western point of the continent to the eastern point. Then it will be called transcontinental railway, right? So basically transcontinental railways run across the continent and join its two ends, right? If it goes the two from one end to second end, west to east points, right? Now one more thing you must remember, the first point where from where it is starting, it is west, so it will be known as western terminal station, right? So it will be known as western terminal station, clear? So ये हमारा क्या हो जाएगा, western terminal station. Similarly the eastern ending point will be known as eastern terminal station. Remember it because it will be asked in map question. The write the western terminal station of Trans-Siberian railway line or whatever we will discuss further, right? So the two ends joining the railway which joins the two ends of the continent is known as transcontinental railway line. The westernmost point will be known as western terminal station, while the easternmost point of the railway line is known as eastern terminal station, right? Now what were the causes behind it to construct the transcontinental railway? Basically the transcontinental railway lines are constructed to strengthen economic and political ties, right? So that the economy of the country can be strengthened, and the political reasons, due to the political reasons, there should be a political bounding between the two end of the continent. That's why the transcontinental railway lines are constructed, right? So like we will discuss these transcontinental railway line for each continent, right? So Trans-Siberian railway line was constructed to integrate European and Asian part of Russia. Similarly, the Canadian Pacific railway line was constructed to satisfy British Columbia because it had agreed to join the Federation of the States of the condition, right? Australian transcontinental railway line, it was constructed to save the Western Territory from going out of the Federation of States. So there were different purposes to construct the transcontinental railway line. Now we will focus one by one each of them. The first is Trans-Siberian railway line. Students, you have to look the map of Russia. So the transcontinental railway line of Russia is known as Trans-Siberian Railway, right? It can be asked, name the railway line showing in the map, right? So you have to tell the name of this railway line. You have to identify the map of Russia. If it is the map of Russia, it means this transcontinental railway line is Trans-Siberian Railway, correct? Now this is a major rail route of Russia, runs from St. Petersburg in the west to the east, Moscow, Vladivostok, right? It runs from western coast of Russia from St. Petersburg in the west to Vladivostok in the east, right? So it's a western terminal station. Here I am right. So it is St. Petersburg is western terminal station, while this one this is eastern terminal station, right? If you are asked the which is the western terminal station of Trans-Siberian Railway line, then you have to give the answer the St. Petersburg, and the eastern terminal station of the Trans-Siberian Railway line is Vladivostok, right? So here you these are the major stations between western and eastern terminals station of Trans-Siberian Railway line. It is the longest line which is 9,332 kilometer and having double tracked route in Asia. Right, it is electrified transcontinental railway in the world. Right, it has joined its Asian region to Western European markets. Now you must know what is the Western European region of Russia, West European region of Russia and Asian. Here, this is the Western European Russia and the rest of Asian Russia, right? So it joins both of these regions, right? So here is the Ural Mountains. So it runs across the Ural Mountains, Oby and Yenisei rivers. Correct? So what is about Trans-Siberian Railway line? You must know the western and eastern terminal station of this railway line, which is western terminal station St. Petersburg and eastern terminal station is Vladivostok. And the major station in between Moscow, Ufa, Novosibirsk, Irkutsk, Chita, and Khabarovsk, right? So it across Ural Mountains by the passes and reach to Vladivostok. Clear? What is the importance of this railway line? Actually, this railway line is constructed for administrative and military purposes, right? But it has assumed much economical importance with the passage of time, because in the past there was a Russian revolution. You have learned about that. So military purposes, for the military purposes, for the administrative purposes, in the starting it was constructed, but later on it gained its economical importance, right? The whole of Russia, especially Siberia, has benefited a lot from this railway line. Because Siberia is rich in mineral, forest, agriculture, and animal resources, and is known as the storehouse of resources. Right? So Siberia is known as the storehouse of resources, which is mostly benefited by this railway line because it has rich resource base. Now the second transcontinental railway line is Trans-Canadian Railway Line. Its name suggesting Trans-Canadian Railway Line means it refers to the Canada, right? So the Transcontinental Railway Line, which lies in Canada, that is known as Transcontinental Railway Line, right? So now its western and eastern terminal station. Here you can see this point. This point is Vancouver at the western coast, right? And this is the last point, Halifax at the eastern coast, right? So this is its western terminal station, right? And its and this is Eastern Terminal Station. Clear? So the Western Terminal Station of Trans-Canadian Railway Line is Vancouver and Halifax. It means it joined the two ending points of Canada, Vancouver to the Halifax. Right? In the picture, you can see it is known as the economic artery. Economic artery, right? Wheat is mainly transported by this railway line. Clear? So this is a wheat growing area of Canada, and it is a eastern coast which is near to the European. So by this railway line, wheat is transported to the Halifax coast, from where this is transported to the European countries, and from the European countries finished goods are transported to the Halifax port, and from the Halifax port through this railway line it is transported throughout Canada. Right? So finished goods are imported, and the agriculture products are exported by this railway line. And the main station of this railway line is Montreal, Ottawa, Winnipeg, Calgary. The total route length is 7,050 kilometers. It was constructed in 1886. Initially, it was constructed to make an agreement with British Columbia on the western coast, join the Federation of States, right? So by this route, wheat and meat are the important exporting items, and that is known as the economic artery of Canada, because it joined the two ending points and facilitate the exporting and importing facility from the European countries. Now the third is Union and Pacific Railway. Union and Pacific Railway is of USA. Note down these. This is of USA Transcontinental Railway Line, and this railway line connect San Francisco, which is its western terminal station, right? It is its western terminal station, and the eastern terminal station is New York, right? So New York is its eastern terminal station. Between these two, the important stations are Cleveland, Chicago, Omaha, Evans, Austin, and Sacramento. Here in the map, you can see Sacramento, Austin, Evans, Omaha, Chicago, Cleveland. And these are the major stations in between Western and Eastern Terminal Station. It goes San Francisco to New York, right? Most valuable exports on these routes are ore, grain, paper, chemical, and machinery. And imported goods are finished goods from the European countries, right? Its name also suggesting that it lies in Australia, right? So it connects Perth to Sydney, right? So its western terminal station is Perth, right? And eastern terminal station is Sydney. For every continental railway line, you must know the western and eastern terminal station. Perth to Sydney, Perth west, and the Sydney is in the east, right? So in between these two, there are major stations like Kalgoorlie, Broken Hills, Port Augusta, This is Port Augusta and different no, and other terminals. Other stations are Peterborough, Port Perry, Port Auguste, Forest. These are the major stations in between of these two. This railway route has different gauges because this railway line from one railway track to another, so it causes a great loss time due to the different gauges. That is the negative point, main negative point. London to Istanbul, right? So it is its western terminal station to Istanbul. Clear? So major stations are Strasbourg, Munich, Vienna, Budapest, and Belgrade. The journey time from London to Istanbul by this express is now reduced to 96 hours, which take 10 days from the sea routes, right? So it is very important for the Istanbul because it reduces the time to travel from the European countries. The main exports on this rail route are cheese, bacon, oats, wine, fruits, and machinery. There is a proposal to build a trans-Asiatic railway joining Istanbul with Bangkok via Iran, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. Right. So there is a proposal to build such a railway which will connect the European country to the Asian countries directly. So here we completed the railways. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Students, if you have any doubt regarding this,